Hey guys, welcome to Past Turns episode of Conan Exiles. I'm your host, Steve, and today we're gonna be breaking into some vaults. I'm gonna show you my favorite ways of busting in someone's vault and what it takes to do so. I will say there is another way that I'm not showing here, which is the trebuchet. I personally don't like the treb. I either go with explosives or grease orbs. Now here we have a newly made vault. I'm going to touch this explosive that I placed right next to it. And it's going to roll away, of course, because, fun com. It's still going to do its damage. It's about 10,000 damage per explosive, right? And as you can see, it leaves a little fire going. Now, if you place the explosive just right, you can keep that fire burning. It's going to take extra damage, continuous damage, off of that initial 10,000. Let's see, I'm going to try it right here. I don't think I placed it close enough to get that continuous damage, but let's see. Shoot it with an arrow this time and not activate it by hand, which is going to keep it in place so it doesn't roll away. And no, see, no continuous damage. Still, there's a fire. Now, you can throw the grease orbs on the fire to keep it going, but if there is no damage to begin with, it's just going to keep a fire going. It's not going to do anything. So, I'm going to take one and place it on the back side, and I'm going to place it as close as I can get it. Let me make sure. Let's see if this is repaired. Nope. Let's repair it to full. Okay, and I'm going to shoot it with a bow. Boom. Now, see how it's still taking damage even after the explosion going off because of the fire. Now, you can keep throwing grease orbs on there every 15 to 20 seconds to keep the fire going. It does take a while. And, there are other ways you can do it. See, it's still going just a bit. It's going to go for as long as that fire's going. But it's taking out, a little bit of damage at a time. It's not a lot. You're going to be standing there a while. One of the other ways to do it is with grease orbs and demon fire orbs. You can throw one grease orb, is all you need, and one demon fire orb. Boom. Now you've got it. Takes like an initial 2 to 3,000 damage off of that, and then it's going to be continuous, which you can slowly feed a grease orb to, keeping it burning. However, it's going to take a long time. See, it's slowly dwindling down. I mean, you got to make sure that no one's around so they don't come up and murder you while you're standing here trying to get this down. And if you don't continually throw grease orbs on it, it's gonna go out. Now, the best way I think to do it with the grease orbs is to stack 10 on them. Right? We're gonna throw 10 grease orbs on it before we throw the demon fire. We want to do this in a pretty quick succession so that we don't lose any of these stacks, because they do go away after a certain time. So, I'll throw 10 here, 1 demon fire. Boom, it's lit. Now look at it. I mean, that's moving a lot faster. It's not as fast as I'd hope, but I'm an impatient person. It is moving faster though than 1 grease orb. The best part about this is to, when you feed it, all you need to do is feed it with the 1 grease orb, and it's going to keep burning as though it's still got that 10 stack on. So you're still getting the multiple damage after only using 1 grease orb, once you've used the initial 10. Now it's going to take about 155 grease orbs to bust through this, and that's including the first 10 stack that you throw on there. And if you do it right, you should only need 1 demon fire orb. Because once it gets going, you don't want to let it go out. So I'd say every 10 to 15 seconds, just to be safe. 15 seconds though, that should equal out to having about 155 grease orbs. Which means, you know, you're looking at 155 glass orbs that you gotta make and things like that. Now, that's nothing compared to what the steel fire is for explosives. Explosives do take a lot less time. But if you've got someone watching your back and you're paying attention, you've got some time, I'd say grease orbs are the way to go. I'm going to show you what it's going to take to make all these grease orbs and to make the explosives, how much it's going to run you, and I've got a list at the end of the video that if you really just want to skip to that and look at the list, you can. Let's see. First, I'm going to start off with the Alchemist 3. Now, if you can, get an Alchemist 4. Always, of course. The named Alch, go ahead and grab it. But generally, you're going to come across a 3 or less. I wouldn't settle for less, though. Get a 3. See, with a 3, the grease orbs take 3 grease. So you got to multiply that by 155. That's how much grease you're going to need. My main issue is making explosives on a tier 3 crafter. That is going to require 5,250 steel fire. It's a lot of steel fire. Tier 4 is a little bit better. That's 3,500 steel fire. It's only 2 grease for the orbs, and instead of 3 volatile glands for the demon fire, you only need 2. So I mean that's pretty good. And if, like I said, if you do it right, you only need 1 demon fire orb. I would make 5, just to be on the safe side, because if the fire does go out, you're gonna need another one to start it back up. So, I mean, you really have to decide for yourself what is more important. I mean, what takes you more time to do, what you prefer to make. Do you want to spend the time on the steel fire or the grease and the volatile glands? Now, if you're going to make some glass for your grease orbs, you're going to need a glass flask mold. And it's going to take a pretty good amount of glass. And as you noticed, the mold, if you have one in there, it's not going to keep continuously making it till you run out of glass. You have to constantly hit the on button every time it makes one. The trick to this is to add a second one on the stack that you have in there. So you should have 2 glass fast molds in there, and it will allow you to continuously make them as it should. And I think once the game gets released, hopefully they'll fix that. But as you can see, it's got 2 in the queue, and after it makes one, it automatically keeps a second one in the queue, so it'll constantly make them till you run out of glass. So if grease orbs is the way you're going, make sure you have 2 molds in there so you don't have to stand in the furnace all day. And to get the glass, you're gonna want to make it out of crystals, right? It's gonna be hard to get that much glass off of thralls. And my favorite way to get crystals is this cave here in the noob land. Why? Because there is no corruption. There's no corruption and no spiders. I mean, it's right here. Like, it's one of the easiest caves you could ever go into. And there's plenty of crystals, more than you can carry. All you have are these little imps, and I mean they're easy as hell to kill. And I mean the cave's fairly large for something like this. But see, there's tons of crystals in here, right? There's even some glowing goop at the bottom here. Ooh. Now there is another something added special to this particular cave, and it's a quest. So you got here, once you go through the water there, you've got all the ghosts praying to the monkey.
O Lord of the
surrounded
darkness,
by all this
of
beautiful
men
crystal.
who are not men,
Well, in the
give
monkey's
us
hand
strength
is
and
an opal.
suffering in equal measure. Let our bodies be pleasing to you, and our minds quieted from this conscious thought. Let us find the inner rages and loose them upon the earth. We give our sacrifice into your hands. Appease your thirst in the slickness of blood. Grant us the power of your might, the eternal strength of Hanuman.
And that's pretty much all there is to this cave. Just collect as many crystals as you can. You know, you're gonna need, for the grease orbs on, you're gonna need about 930 crystals. So, you know, 1,000 would keep it nice, just in case. And here's the list. If you need it, this will tell you everything you need. Tier 3, Tier 4 Thrall. Some of these might change when the game gets released,